Welcome to the reading of Duplicity and Duress Snap Factories in the Making, a book that I wrote under the pseudonym Erin. Here is an excerpt from another chapter on Kiera. Here is when an act of the otherworldly intervened because to this day it is a mystery to me to attempt explaining how this happened. I will say this, every once in a while the universe reaches down, works some magic, and alters the course of events. There seems to be no other explanation for it. Here goes. All of us, Kiera, Ophelia, and myself, gathered in the living room for a chat before I was to return home. The room, rectangular in shape, contained a long chocolate brown leather couch, cushy and soft, that sat against the wall opposite the front door. The wall painted a deep cherry red, like a Rainier cherry. A love seat was situated perpendicular to that couch and rested up against the shorter wall. This wall painted a hunter green, which led to the front door. Nestled into the 90-degree right angle of the couch and chair was a glass top, square coffee table containing the usual living room artifacts. An ashtray, 3 remote controls, a Bic pen, or maybe it was 2, and a smattering of coasters made mostly of cork. All 3 of us sat down to finish up our conversation, me sinking deep into the love seat, Ophelia planting herself on the end of the long couch at a right angle to me. Kiera sat on Ophelia's right-hand side on that same couch. This meant Ophelia and I were sitting close, knees almost knocking. A bottle of Ophelia's favorite cerveza rested on a coaster in front of her, condensation dripping from the neck down into a styrofoam green cozy, hugging the bottle that said, "Best Georgian Peach Pie." About 3 sentences into our conversation, Ophelia's arms flung up in dramatic fashion in an attempt to emphasize a point she wanted to make about Blinger. That would be their dog. In doing so, she accidentally knocked the long neck of the bottle of beer, Miller's Light, I believe, so that the bottle wobbled wildly from side to side, side to side. It wobbled so far to the right and then to the left, I was certain it was about to fall and probably should have, but the scene went into slow motion. In that time, both Kiera and I, with quick reflexes, grabbed for the bottleneck, inadvertently grasping hands, overlapping them on the neck of the bottle to ensure it did not completely tip over. Kiera and I looked at each other, her hand on mine, or mine on hers, I can't remember, but we were holding onto each other firmly, as if the same thoughts crossed our minds. We both glanced over to see Ophelia looking at the both of us, mouth agape, jewels stretching from the corner of her mouth. It stretched down, retracted back up halfway to her chin, then stretched back down, finally dropping to her lap, where it left a little wet stain. She was stupefied, stunned, as if, internally, she knew this was a sign from the universe. My hand and Kiera's hand still gripping the long neck of the bottle tightly, still gripping each other tightly. Silence descended upon the room. Even the cat and dog stood still, staring in our direction. The clock might have even stopped. Kiera and I, with almost guilty expressions on our faces, quickly released our hands and jumped back into our seats, waiting for Ophelia to react. As if we were caught red-handed in the bedroom while she was around the bend at the local bar, downing brews with her teammates. Yes, it is true, I was attracted to Kiera just enough, but I'm not the type to go out of my way to steal someone from another. I've been on the losing side too often and for far too long. But in that moment, it was as if the gods above, or El Diablo, wanted me to appear as a threat, someone Ophelia should be concerned about. In retrospect, I wonder if it was a test of her love and desire to really be with Kiera. I don't know, but that fear should have fallen over. Because it wobbled so wildly. And the slowing down of the moment, it was all so surreal. Like timelines were converging, and Miller Lite, as insignificant as it seems, was the focal point of that convergence. There was a sudden release. The moment, which was frozen in time for a few seconds, passed, and we all settled back into our seats with an audible exhale escaping each of our lips as if we were exhausted and confounded by the brief unfolding of events. But we took it in stride. Sort of like a crew of astronauts who witnessed a flying saucer as far back as 1967 or something like that, but silently agreed to never tell a soul, to just go on about life as usual, as if it never happened. They told me they'd make copies of their keys and get them to me before they packed up for North Carolina. I thanked them for trusting me to take care of their pets and scooted out the door. As I made my way east, away from their door and out of earshot, I let out a deep, audible breath, my cheeks blown up with air, escaping quietly. Aside from that episode, life was looking good. In fact, it was around the same time that Gladys, the girl who worked for Trader Joe's, the one in Barnes & Noble the day my mother had arrived, first entered the picture. I'll explain exactly how we met. She was the ex-girlfriend of someone who was now dating a new acquaintance named Tyler. In typical lesbian complicated fashion, Tyler, who once dated Claire of Piper and Claire, if you recall them from the Piper and Claire chapter, was now, it turns out, dating Praline, the girl from the Christmas party. Praline happened to be the ex-girlfriend of Gladys. Setting up a coffee date with Gladys was accomplished in no time flat thanks to Facebook and this overlapping of connections. There's not so much to say about the Gladys coffee date other than I was cute and funny, and she didn't talk to me after that. I just wanted to introduce her into the timeline now because this is when we connected, just after I met with Kiera and Ophelia regarding their pets, but before they left for North Carolina. So I was kind of curious if Gladys knew them at all. Back to Kiera and Ophelia. When I arrived for the first pet visit, a six-pack of glass Coca-Cola bottles was waiting for me in the refrigerator. Kiera left me a note saying she remembered how much I liked them. These Coke bottles, that is. She left me a couple other notes, too, reminding me how much they fed each of their pets, where the leash was, and to make sure that the cat was not stirring up trouble, instigating Blinger, and trashing the living room with kitty litter dust. The usual in this line of work. They would be gone about 6 days, so I decided to pace myself with the drinking of the Coke. 1 bottle a day would be the perfect treat to look forward to, especially in the 104-degree weather we were having. It was a cesspool outside. Couple that with riding my bike all over the city, locking and unlocking it on and off poles and bike stands at every location, keying into people's homes legitimately, walking dogs, picking up the dog doo, scooping litter, putting food down in bowls, and writing notes for clients about all of it, and then riding off into the humidity to whatever walk was next. Please, the next time you see a dog walker, respect them. I was sweating like Mia Hamm during a championship match, sans the sports bra sponsorship or the body to show it off. Kiera's thoughtfulness about the Coke bottle settled inside of me like a soft hug. I smiled to myself when I read her notes. Sweetness, I thought. She bought a 6-pack of tiny Coke bottles just for me. So until next time and next chapter, thank you so much.